Welcome, students, families, mentors, staff, and all members of the Philadelphia Futures community to our second virtual summer closing program ceremony. Our students have pushed themselves this summer in their remote classes, and we are so impressed with the work that they have accomplished. Before we get started with presentations, I'd like to acknowledge the hard work of our newest students from the class of 2025 who participated in a 6-week intensive high school prep program covering biology, writing, and algebra content, as well as key academic support skills such as time management and study skills. Throughout this closing program, you'll have the pleasure of hearing from the students of our 4 classes: History and Human Behavior for rising sophomores, Career Research and Exploration for rising juniors, Environmental Science Futures in our newest course, Nucleus Robotics Futures, for our rising seniors. We will have the additional opportunity to hear excerpts from our rising seniors' personal statements that they crafted during our college admissions marathon. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Michelle Desjardins and Megan Malachi, the instructors for our History and Human Behavior class.
Hi, my name is Michelle Desjardins.
And I'm Megan Malachi.
And we had the pleasure of teaching the History and Human Behavior course this summer. This course was focused on building the students' research skills and their critical thinking skills. So in the course, they were able to engage in discussion on local and global history. They were able to conduct their own independent research projects and, of course, practice advanced writing skills that are so necessary for high school and for college. I want to preface this by saying that this is not your average history class. Instead of focusing on just dates and the same names we always do, we zoomed in on the impact and influence of public-led movements.
We started off our class with a local lesson on the MOVE organization and the MOVE bombing of 1985. We researched a lot about the MOVE organization and what happened to their family members in this conflict. We also discussed concepts such as historical memory and how it applies to the history that's taught in schools. We focused deeply on terms such as institutional racism, white supremacy, and state violence, and a lot of our discussions led to exploring other areas of hidden history, and our students really wanted to know more about what that looks like. And then finally, we studied about how the MOVE bombing impacted the Cobbs Creek neighborhood of West Philadelphia. We also spent some time studying Haiti. We looked at Haiti as a historical and contemporary example of self-determination and resistance. We made some really strong connections between the Haitian Revolution and the country's current political situation. We also talked a lot about the long history of media stereotypes and the way Haitians are organizing against them. And we finished off our discussion talking about the global fight for reparations and the historical debt that is owed to Haiti.
During this summer, Haiti was in the news a lot because of the president's assassination, and Haiti is my home country, so I wanted to bring the discussion to the class. But we looked at Haiti's history and Cuba's history, actually, so we focused on the Caribbean, and the current political issues that they were experiencing that we're seeing on our timelines, and especially we were talking in class a lot about the involvement of other countries and whether or not that can be problematic. We moved on then to Black Lives Matter. We talked about Black Lives Matter and its origin, the founders' original mission, and what changes made so far. We compared it a lot to the civil rights movement, and whether or not this was a new civil rights era was kind of a debate we had. We talked about how social media changed the way that protesting and advocacy was happening right now in 2021. And then we even had great discussions about what teens our students' age can do. And that got into deep discussion about things like performative allyship.
We also discussed the concept of water justice, and we used the examples of the protest at Standing Rock and also Flint, Michigan. And we really focused on learning about the Dakota Access Pipeline protest and also the protest that occurred in Flint, Michigan over clean water. And then lastly, we talked about Palestine and the global movement for freedom. We delved deeply into concepts such as Zionism, militarism, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism. And this led us to having some deep conversations where we reflected on our personal ideas and our personal values involving morality, solidarity, and courage.
And while we were having these amazing discussions in class, we were also working hard towards building a quality research paper. So our students actually were able to choose their own topics. You can see in the top corner that they were choosing things like Islamophobia and media misrepresentation, talking about historic gun violence and gun laws in the country, Black Lives Matter movement, the Stonewall riots. And we allowed them to build first their questions that they were curious about regarding their topic. And then from there, that was able to guide their research and keep it focused. Then they were able to build quality paragraphs using sources that they had found in an outline, which led to beautiful 3 to 4 page research papers that we are so incredibly proud of, because this is summer and the fact that the kids were able to work so hard and put their research together is just amazing, and they should be so proud of themselves.
Yes, I agree. I'm so proud of our students. They've worked so hard and they contributed so much rigor to our class discussions, and they should be very proud of the work that they've done.
Hello, my name is Fanu Mahmood. I'm an upcoming sophomore at Northeast Magnet High School. My favorite thing that I learned in the History and Human Behavior course was media misrepresentation. It really opened my eyes to the fact that the media plays a big role in what we think and how we think of certain people and certain things. My research paper is about Islamophobia and how the media's wrong portrayal of Islam has contributed largely to Islamophobia. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Hi everyone, my name is Car Small and I'm from the class of 2024 Sponsor Scholar Program. This summer I participated in a course called History and Human Behavior, where I learned about so many topics that are rarely or not at all talked about in school. In class, we talked about things such as the moon bombing, Haiti, the events happening in Palestine, and much more. One topic that really stuck to me is the media's portrayal of Haiti. Haiti was the first Black-led republic and the first country in the Caribbean to release itself from European powers. Despite these defeats, news outlets continue to use phrases that put Haiti in a bad light. Things such as referring to the country as the poorest country in the world, or talking about its having a teetering democracy, do not tell the full story and instead give criticism to a country that needs the support of others. We also see the media do similar things to BLM, the BLM movement, and the events in Palestine. When all that is seen of an event that is on the news or in an article is through a distorted lens, it causes nothing but harm. The media controls so much of the general public's perception, and when this power is used negatively, it stops the world from making progress towards enlightened society. Without this class, I would still be blind to this problem and so many more. I'm truly so grateful to have this opportunity because of how much I learned, not only in the traditional sense, but also as a person.
So today was the last day and the last class for the Sponsor Scholar summer classes for me. And throughout this entire thing, we've learned about so many different topics. We started off with the moon bombing, a topic that I wasn't aware of, that I wasn't thought of in school. And I'm sure that there's so many other people my age who are still not aware of this. And then we moved on to Haiti and the struggles for reparation. Then we talked about Standing Rock, Flint, and we even talked about the recently uncovered struggles that Palestine has been going through for a while now. And it's just been such an experience and like an emotional ride, because each class is just such heavy topics that you get to talk about with people, with like-minded people. You can sit down, you're able to share your thoughts with them. It's a completely stress-free environment, and it's so much fun to be in. Like, I'm really sad that this class is ending, because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do in my summer now, but it's been such a fun experience for me so far.
My name is Mohammed Hubby. I'm going to be a 10th grader at Northeast Magnet. I hope everyone is having a great summer so far. In our history and humanity course, we learned about a lot of different things, but my 3 favorites were definitely the MOVE bombing, BLM, and misinformation from the media. It was nice to learn a lot of new things and definitely refresh my mind on things that I've learned before. For example, about BLM, I've always knew about it and stuff. This class made me think a lot more about it. In our history and humanity course, we're also writing our research essays. I picked the topic Islamophobia. I think Islamophobia is really important for people to learn about, and that's why I decided to write about it. I also want to say thank you to Ms. D for giving me this opportunity to say really great things about her class, which she obviously deserved. But thank you guys so much. I hope everyone has a great summer. Bye.
Thank you, Megan and Michelle, our interns, and all our rising sophomores. These presentations every year always amaze me because of the relevant and important content our students dive into. Next, I would like to transition over to the Career Research and Exploration course, taught by instructors Candace Elo and Jared Epler.
Hello, my name is Candace Elo.
Hi everybody, I'm Jared Epler.
We were the instructors for Career Futures this summer. Wanted to share a highlight and something that was really mind-blowing to experience, which was discovering that many of my students, if not most, wanted to take on an entrepreneurial approach to their careers. They are creative, they are autonomous, they want to be their own bosses, they want to make their own money, and they are not satisfied with what they are seeing out in the market, and so they want to create something new.
For me, my highlight from the summer is being able to interact directly with our students and really learn more about their vision for themselves. And I think based on my experience with our students this summer is we're seeing a big shift and change in our workforce that's driven by them. And I think we're going to see a move towards more autonomy, creativity. I think our students are really thinking about things like work-life balance and what do I need to do to truly live a life that I dream of and love. And for me, I'm seeing future leaders who are going to make that substantial impact on the way we view work in our country today.
I am grateful that they shared their ideas with us, and I am grateful that at the top of everything, they're trying to live a life that is their own. And they want to be themselves, and wherever they work, they want it to be a space that feels good for them.
For me, hearing their experiences has given me a lot of hope and made me think for myself about what are the things that I want and what do I want work to look like for me. So next, we're really excited for you to hear directly from our students about the experiences that they had this summer.
Okay, for our project, we chose the media industry. It was a really broad industry, and we thought it would be interesting because since it's such a big, thing in our community now. So the tech and media industry is on a path to reach $5 trillion by the end of 2021, and it continues to grow. The country's absolute growth in the entertainment and media industry is expected to exceed that of the U.S. for the first time by 2024. There are many different apps that fall into the media and technology industry. Primary customers are people who already own apps or people who want to buy into the company. Selling people's information to market to users even though they are not supposed to try to ensure it doesn't. Like many things can happen in media. The current leaders are Kevin Systrom, Mike Grigor, and Mark Zuckerberg, who created apps like Instagram and Facebook, which are in the lead right now for highest being used by people. Key successes that the media has: it can help people connect with family and kidnapped or lost children, and helps to discover new talent. But everything within the media is not always good. There are challenges like breaching people's information, breaking community guidelines, and making others feel unsafe, like bullying and harassment. 2 jobs that we thought stuck out were security engineering to help manufacture the apps and data scientists. Thank you.
Okay. So what my group did was the food industry. We got Asan, me, Jasmine, Amy, and Jada.
Overview. The food industry is growing every day in production and size. It spans from those who farm to those who distribute the packaged food. In just the United States alone, retail and food services amounted to $6.2 trillion in 2019. The food industry is the most booming sector of industries in the global economy. According to World Bank, this industry alone is comprising about 10% of all economic input, and that number is expected to rise in the later years to come. The food industry has 4 main objectives: customer delight, safety, providing product information, and the subsistence of economic success. The leaders of the industry. According to BusinessInsider.com, only 10 companies control almost every large food and beverage brand in the world. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans use food labels as a shopping guide. These name-branded foods are important to have, not only for memorizing, but for familiarity and value. Companies. With the food industry growing every day, we have big companies running it, like Nestle, PepsiCo, Tyson, Kraft Heinz, and even more. People. These companies also have big-time leaders like Al Carey, Mark Scogan, Kevin Davis, and Ulf Snyder.
Some services that the food industry provides is preparing and serving the food and beverages to the customer, just like how a restaurant operates. There are also food delivery services in which people would order their meal through phone, text, or an app, and the food will be delivered at the destination they have requested, or you have the option to pick it up. There are also apps that now designed specifically for food delivery, like Uber Eats or DoorDash, and this also works for groceries. Some products the food industry sells are prepackaged food, canned good food, baked goods like bread, dessert, beverages, fruits, snacks, vegetables, and more. The food industry is designed to provide services and products that can be bought or paid for and is convenient for the customers.
So the success and challenges is the food enterprise is one of the most complex industries in the global economy. This means that there are going to be many successes along with challenges facing the industry. So the challenges include increasing demand for food shipping, traceability, poor communication between food supply and chain partners, lack of honesty, and growing regulation. The success, however, though, is if you want to be successful in this industry, skills like financial reporting, you need to be a fast worker and have safety consciousness. If you have those skills, you are guaranteed success. These are challenges because it increases the chance of food contamination, confusion, and delays, which isn't good for such a big industry. So the job opportunities in the food industry is a chef. The chef is the leader of the kitchen. They control and are responsible for food products in the place where food is served. Chefs control what goes on the menu and specials, and you rarely find the owner controlling the menu. It requires a high school diploma or equivalent. A well-successful chef has leadership skills, great communication, teamwork skills. The average salary of a chef is $65,000 per year. And another job opportunity is a waiter. The waiter is in charge of taking care of the guests of the food establishment. They are to greet the customer, be observant of their needs, and provide quality customer service, and deliver food to customers. Experience isn't required to become a waiter, and training can be provided by the food establishment. The waiter requires excellent verbal communication skills, customer service skills, and a great listening skills. The average salary of a waiter is around $15,000 to $50,000 per year. And here's our references.
Thank you once again to our Career Futures team, instructors, our interns, and obviously our students, the rising juniors. I'm super excited by the dynamic journeys you will continue to pursue with regard to your career choice. Next, we will highlight our STEM Futures course taught by instructors Dr. Ben Dubé and Dr. Ted Howe.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ben Dubé, and I'm the Environmental Science Summer Program instructor. The main goal of the Environmental Science Summer Program is to guide students to have a better understanding of why it is so critical to keep the watershed healthy and maintain the aquatic ecosystems and the quality of water that we all drink. To achieve this, the program has the following 3 objectives. First, to further educate senior high school students in hands-on science learning, data collection, and writing assignments and science lab reports. Second, to further give students lessons in the areas of presentation skills and team building. Lastly, to emphasize and provide students with the opportunity to apply the scientific method in which students collect samples, carry out simple water quality monitoring tests, tabulate field data, formulate hypotheses, and finally, write and present scientific reports or projects. In spite of the limitations of lab and field activities caused by the pandemic, students were issued with individual water monitoring kits, including safety gloves, which enabled each student to carry out the necessary water quality test in the comfort of their homes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ted Howell, and I was the environmental science writing teacher for the program this summer. Along with the lab work that the students did and learning about the scientific method and data collection and recording, I helped them learn how to write and communicate both scientifically and to a wider audience. So along with the tests the students did, they were simultaneously learning about some of the social and political issues that are deeply important to our water quality and our watersheds, including about things like environmental regulations, as well as ways that we define and understand and interact with the natural world. So what you're going to see here in these next two videos are two students who have completed amazing work this semester. First, you will see one of our students who conducted a pH test using the at-home kit that was sent in the mail. The students took water from a local waterway near their home and then tested its water quality. You'll see just one of those water tests, which is representative of all of the ones they collected and wrote about over the course of the summer. After that, you'll see one of our students give a presentation about what it means to define nature in different ways and to kind of reconceptualize the way that we interact with the natural world. One of the things that Dr. Dubé and I both stressed over the course of this semester was encouraging students to get out in their environments and interact with nature in a way that made them feel more connected to their environment, even if they weren't able to, explore a grand national park, for example. So you'll see two great videos coming up here. I hope that you enjoy some of this fantastic work that our students did over the course of the summer program.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Trzynowski, and today I'll be showing you the pH water test procedure. In this container, I have my sample of creek water, which I collected from Pennypack Park, right in my neighborhood. To complete this test, I fill my 10 milliliter test tube all the way to the 10 milliliter line. After it's full, I add one wide range pH tablet. Capping the test tube, I turn it upside down to mix. After mixing for about 2 minutes, the tablet disintegrates. pH is the measurement of acidic or basic quality of the water. Most organisms are adapted to certain pH levels, and slight changes can be threatening to these organisms. As indicated by the video, the water sample color slowly changed to a yellowish green. Here I'm showing the color comparison chart. The variety of numbers and colors represent the water's pH level. Anything less than a 7 is more acidic, while anything above a 7 represents the pH is basic. When comparing the sample previously tested to the colors on the color chart, I can determine the pH of the sample is between a 6 and a 7. This is considered neutral, which is positive for the ecosystem. Once you compare your sample to the chart, your test is complete. Now you can try this on your own. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Nina Diaz, and my op-ed is on redefining nature. Firstly, what is nature? The Oxford Dictionary defines nature as the phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to humans or human creations. To the left is Rickety Glen State Park, and to the right is Henner View State Park. These big national parks with huge hiking trails are usually what people associate nature as. This can be a problem because these parks are hours away from inner cities. This makes it incredibly hard for inner city kids to have access to them, especially ones who face poverty. Why does this matter? This is important because as a society, as we adopt this unrealistic standard of nature being untouched land by humans and big green fields with large hiking trails and rivers, we notice a lack of access to this for inner city kids. Here you can see the parks that inner city kids have access to. Not only are these lead-contaminated slides and playgrounds, but the crime rate in Philadelphia is increasingly getting worse. As of July 27th, 11:59 p.m., there has been 316 homicides, many of which have happened in parks. For example, the park near my house recently had a shooting, and now I'm not even allowed to go there, so that has even perpetuated the lack of access to nature. However, we can realize that if we redefine nature as something as simple as just the trees and the dirt in the park, in the foreground of these parks, then we can get an outside perspective and a different look on nature and how we interact with it. This new look on nature is very important for climate change. Christina Chan said that the world's poorest communities often live in the most fragile land, and they are often politically, socially, and economically marginalized, making them especially vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. And according to the US Census, 23.3% of Philadelphians live in poverty. This means that the kids that go to these parks, and even the adults, live in poverty, and they are experiencing the impacts of climate change more than others. This redefinition of nature can help educate youth and adults on what nature actually is and how to protect it and how to live sustainably. Now you may be wondering, how can you help? The easiest way to redefine nature is to go outside and find nature. Here in this picture you can see another park in Philadelphia that is full of grass and trees and dirt, which just shows that there has to be insects there and little ecosystems that are flourishing. This is a prime example of nature in Philadelphia that goes unnoticed. Nature doesn't have to be these large national parks. Nature can be something as simple as this green field that has different types of grass and little weeds in them. As we allow kids to explore this, we can also teach them how to take care of it and how to preserve it and realize the importance of it. If we continuously think that nature is just these large, grand parks, we're going to constantly neglect the nature that's right in front of us. These are my sources, and thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you go outside.
Thank you, Dr. Dubé and Dr. Howell, and our newest senior class. I love being able to see how engaged these students are with material, and I hope they take their environmental stewardship into the world. Next, I'm excited to introduce our newest course, the Nucleus Robotics course, led by the extremely talented Haverford interns. Instructing the course was Elle Barch, and assisting with the course was Ebony Graham.
Hi, my name is Elle Barch, and I'm the instructor of the Robotics Futures course for summer 2021. In this course, we taught students the basics of computer programming, principles of programming, best practices, and we applied those to our Sphero robots. As you can see here, we originally drove these around using a little canvas where we would draw on the screen and the robot would follow that path and light up whatever color we drew. And we expanded on that to block coding, which are pre-built functions in the JavaScript language, and eventually moved on to text coding, which is what programmers use in the real world. So without further ado, I will introduce you to some of their projects. These range from golf course to create your own adventure code, and I will give an example that I created for the class to show you how this works behind the scenes. So as you can see here, this is my block code. It is inspired by Overwatch. It has an event block, so when I press start on the program, this will run. It will run the functions, which are in green, the control blocks, which are in purple, also a lot of speak blocks, which are the magenta color, which you will be able to hear through the speaker as I play this program. It will also run certain code on a collision. So if I hit the robot, it will change this variable and impact the code. That is how the program will work on robots, and now you will see what the students were able to come up with.
Okay, so I based my thing off a Pokemon battle, and I just did. Well, these were just to set the variables, like establish the variables first, and then what I did was basically just use this block to just pick a number from 1 to 2, and then if equals 2, then the attack hits, and then we win. If not, then I lose. And this is just the speech and the animation, and then basically, yeah, that's all there is to it.
I choose you, Pikachu. Use Thunderbolt. Yeah.
Basically, what inspired me to do this is I'm a poor decision maker, as in like I can't decide on anything, so I make a robot do it for me. I just put it in random, and it's either gonna make me do summer work, gaming, or a couch potato, which is sleep.
Time to work. Summer work. Couch potato. Sleep. Summer work. Gaming. What am I going to do today? Let me think. Well, he'll just go for a walk. It's fun to walk in the city. It's fun to walk in the city. I'm sorry for bumping into you. Oh, now it's dark. I have to go home.
Thank you, Elle and Ebony. Super grateful for everyone who took part of that robotics course this summer. Next, we'd like to take a couple of minutes to recognize some students for their outstanding contributions to the summer classes. First off, we have History and Human Behavior and the award for exceptional writing on the final paper. First, we have Fanu Mahmood. Fanu has done an incredible job conducting thorough research from the very beginning of the course. He consistently asks compelling questions and has been committed to writing a stellar final paper. We are proud of your hard work, and you should be too.
Next, we have Alana Roman. Alana's final paper is a thoughtful exploration on the adultification bias, the idea that Black children are less innocent and more adult than their white counterparts. She uses adultification bias to explain several well-known instances of police violence and the disproportionate rates of incarceration of Black youth. Alana really demonstrated a deep understanding of the course's themes. I am very proud of her work, and she should be too. Next, we have the award for outstanding contributions to the learning environment for history and human behavior.
First for that, we have Nabila Jaron. Nabila is not the student who always raises her hand right away, but she has really come out of her shell this summer and greatly added to discussions in our course. Her contributions have sparked deeper thought within her classmates, and she has not been afraid to challenge ideas. Thank you for speaking up this summer. We are so proud of you.
Next, we have Iffy Zariba. Iffy entered our class every morning with a big hello to everyone. She's a huge personality that makes all of us laugh and smile. Iffy is also the serious thinker who's contributed greatly to the rigor of our class discussions. She was also incredibly kind and supportive to her teachers and classmates. She is truly a pleasure to work with.
We have Malaya Williams. Malaya is highly motivated to succeed. She consistently contributed to our classroom discussions and always completed her work on time. Malaya writes very well and took full advantage of office hours. We're very proud of your work this summer.
Next, we have Azuri Gomez Alua. Azuri is a wonderful student with strong beliefs about history and politics. She did a great job of bringing a multitude of perspectives to our class discussions. She is also kind and supportive of her peers, which really contributed to the vibrancy of our class meetings.
Finally, we have Carl Small. Carl's contributions to our class discussions really stood out. He brought a high level of rigor to our class meetings and challenged us all to delve deeper into class content. We are very proud of Carl's contribution. We're going to move on to our Career Futures class for rising juniors. We're going to start with the award for exceptional writing on the Career Path research paper. We have We Mean. We Mean was an obvious leader from the first day of class and always takes the initiative to ask thought-provoking questions in class when she wants to know more. She is serious about being present and on time and communicates when she needs help or can't make it to class. Her work shows much reflection, application, and passion. Congrats.
Next, we have Michelle Liu. Michelle wrote an incredibly deep and thoughtful career path research paper, going above and beyond the expectations in the syllabus. Her SMART goals were clear and detailed. Michelle clearly put a lot of time and effort into this paper, and the final result reflected the effort she put into the assignment. Well done, Michelle.
Next, we have the award for exceptional contributions to the learning environment. First, we have Nala Bush. Nala has consistently shown great vision and clarity about what she sees for her future. She shows great pride in how she approaches class assignments and is always thorough to the best of her abilities. Though not always the most vocal in class, her work shows an obvious amount of personal reflection and clarity.
Next, we have Edison Wong. Edison was incredibly engaged this summer, always answering questions and asking thought-provoking questions in the chat and during guest speaker sessions. Edison had perfect attendance and submitted all assignments on time and was obviously incredibly engaged. Congrats, Edison.
Moving on to our rising seniors, here are the awards for our Nucleus Robotics course. First, the award for Robotics Programming Excellence. This award goes to Francesca Hilario. Francesca went beyond expectations in all assignments. She was creative, thorough, and passionate about the content. She was also very diligent about attendance and coming to office hours. Congrats.
We have the award for exceptional contributions to the learning environment in robotics. The recipient is Quentin Tran. Quentin was incredibly engaged with the class content and his peers. He always volunteered to answer questions and gave his best effort on every assignment in class, especially the racetrack he built. Congratulations.
Finally, we have the awards for our Environmental Science Futures course. First, we have the Award for Excellence in Environmental Communication. This award goes to Nina Diaz. Nina's work this summer was consistently extraordinary, and they demonstrated both the capacity to communicate complex scientific information in a clear, well-organized way, as well as tackle significant issues related to the need to reconceptualize how we think about and interact with the natural world. She has a talent for writing and presentation and a very bright future as a college-level scholar. Congrats, Nina.
Our next award is for exceptional contributions to the learning environment, going to Jasmine Dusnetsky. Jasmine's presence in class was delightful. She consistently interacted on Zoom and completed all of her work diligently. We were especially impressed with her video presentations and her knowledge of deeper issues related to water quality and environmental justice. Wonderful job, Jasmine. Congratulations.
Congratulations again to all of the award winners and all the students who participated in this summer programming.
This summer, the class of 2022 successfully participated in our annual College Admissions Marathon virtually. Typically, this event is hosted by one of our partner colleges, allowing scholars to get a taste of life on a college campus while also preparing for their college application process. Our remote iteration of this program emphasizes the personal statement or college essay. Over 2 weeks, our staff worked closely to support students with their writing, with the goal of completing a first rough draft. While some sessions each week were scheduled at a standard time, students were given the flexibility to organize meetings with their writing coach based on their own individual schedule. Weekly writing assignments kept students moving through the process at a consistent pace. And throughout the program, students also had the opportunity to get to know one another and meet the various staff that will be supporting them throughout their senior year. We were fortunate to also receive support from our 2 summer teaching assistants, Philadelphia Futures collegians Tamir Brown and Kelvin Nunez. They met with students individually and provided detailed feedback on their writing. Additionally, students received tips and writing instruction from representatives at CCP, Columbia, Johns Hopkins, Lincoln, Penn State, Villanova, and Wesleyan. I'd like to invite a few of our rising seniors in the class of 2022 to share samples of their personal statements that they will be submitting to colleges this fall.
Hi, I'm Fatunang, and I'll be reading a small part from my personal statement. Thank you. When my doctor came into the room, they sat across from me and asked, "So, how are you doing? What's going on?" At first, I struggled to find the right words to explain everything I had been experiencing. But once I opened my mouth and began talking, I felt this relief, like I had been carrying this really heavy thing and I had finally let it go. All those worries I had now seemed so silly to me. After my talk with my doctor, I was able to get resources that would help me with getting therapy and meds. There was still this little part of me that felt disappointed in myself because I've always only been self-reliant. I felt vulnerable and a little angry that I couldn't somehow fix myself. I felt as though, who was I to step out of this role of being a strong Black woman and to be a burden to everyone around me? But I slowly but surely did get out of this mindset. Thank you.
My name is Mariama Berry. I'm a senior at George Washington High School, and this is my personal statement. During my freshman year of high school, I lived in the Bronx. I boarded the same bus with my friends and my younger sister every day. One evening in the spring after softball practice, I stood beside an elderly lady who commented on my hijab. At first, I didn't mind because I thought she was just being inquisitive. After a few minutes later, she interjected again, asking me why I didn't take it off and show my hair. I didn't pay any mind to her because my younger sister was listening. But then she ended her barrage of questions by calling me a terrorist. After that statement, I decided to speak up. I explained to her just because she had her own views regarding Islam, her comments were uncalled for. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamil Duncan, and I go to Multicultural Academy Charter School. I'll be reading a short portion of my essay. Because of my advocacy, I was asked to give a speech at a ribbon-cutting ceremony to commemorate my middle school's renaming. Before I took the podium, I was sitting between Senator Sharif Street and the then Representative Emilio Vasquez. The three of us talked at length during the ceremony about politics and law. After my speech, they offered me internships. I took Senator Street's offer, and after my initial summer internship, the senator's policy director asked me to return. I continued working on the senator's policy team for 3 years. The experience I garnered there made me a valuable asset in the professional settings I later entered. It sharpened my skills, and I'm grateful for that and for all that came after, but none of it came easy. My presence often unsettles older colleagues. Imagine seeing someone half your age do your job, sometimes better than you. That can be threatening, and I have faced a lot of hostility as a result. It used to be hurtful, but nothing coerces you as quickly as working in Philadelphia politics. Today, I carry my earned status as a public policy professional with confidence and humility. Writing laws, analyzing legislation, and advising policymakers are fulfilling. Being able to do that now, in addition to being an intellectual feast, serves as an apt preset for the work I aspire to do as an appellate attorney. Someday, I hope to find myself in the nerdy and legalistic crux of appellate law, perhaps representing the United States government in the Solicitor General's office, or representing a special interest, fighting to preserve a nation of laws and not of men, the hallmark of our republic we call the United States of America.
Hello everyone, my name is Regad and I'm a senior within the Philadelphia Futures program, and I'm here today to share with you the first 2 paragraphs of my personal statement. Remember, Palestine is unlike any other nation. It is not confined within these borders, and this land will always exist within you. My grandmother whispered in my ear minutes prior to me boarding the plane onto the next chapter in my new life as an American citizen. These were not words I was unfamiliar with. They were words I grew up being told, much like other Palestinian children. However, for some reason, those words that I was so accustomed to sounded different. In that moment in time, they felt more important and they embedded themselves deeper within my brain. I often think about those words and I reminisce on the life my family and I left behind. When I questioned my parents' decision in moving our family into a foreign nation we were aliens to, they limited their response to, it was to give this family a better future. But I learned at a very young age the depths of their response. Under the Israeli occupation in Palestine, many Palestinian families struggled to maintain the life their ancestors had before them. They were deprived of rights and resources, and for some, like my family, it was difficult to preserve a home as Israel colonized and took over one village after the other. My family was unjustifiably displaced from our home within the village of Lifta, and we were under the threat of a second occurrence of this matter when my parents decided to search for a more stable living condition outside of Palestine as a whole. I am resentful about the Zionistic oppression that forced my parents to disconnect me from my roots and integrate me into a society I do not belong in. So, when I saw the news of the recent events of my Palestinian brothers and sisters who, like myself and my family, were being threatened of displacement at the hands of the Israeli forces, I knew that I could not let what happened to me happen to them. I knew that I needed to take the necessary actions to raise awareness and support against the humanitarian crisis existing within my homeland. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us. On behalf of the College Access team and all of us here at Philadelphia Futures, I want to express our sincere appreciation for all of you for making this summer happen. This was your fourth remote virtual semester, so I know that fatigue could have set in, but your commitment to your college journeys and your commitment to our program made this summer possible, and we're incredibly grateful and just look forward to engaging with you all again in the fall. One final shout out to all of our instructors, our interns, our staff, coordinators who are following up with students, our families who are helping to ensure. I know that we are invasive, putting on, asking for to be literally in your living rooms, every day for an hour throughout the summer. So super grateful for all of your support. And I just look forward to engaging with you all, hopefully in person in the fall. Thank you.